Hey there, Mr. Potential back again with some more comic reviews. I'll try and whiz through these ones. Right, Uncanny Xforce 25. It's the beginning of a new story arc. I wasn't a big fan of the last one, and that was a lot to do with the art as well. But Jerome Opino, I think that's Opano, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his name, is on board, so that's quite good. And this is a good issue, you know. Rick Remender's been doing a great job on this. You know, there's some good solo time with Deadpool. He's sort of showing his role as scout almost to the group, which was shown in the first arc. You know, they sort of sent him out to get information and whatnot. And he writes Remender writes Deadpool quite well. But also, kind of spoiler alert, Psylocke leaves the team, and so does Phantom X, but they'll be back, you just know it. And there's some good little bit of character development between Wolverine and the Age of Apocalypse Nightcrawler, which I felt was quite good. The Age of Apocalypse Nightcrawler's place there felt a little bit forced, but it's starting to make a bit more sense now, especially since that issue where he killed Age of Apocalypse Iceman. And also there's some nice ties to Wolverine and the X-Men, and also there's some nice sort of inner monologue with Wolverine talking about his actions, and it kind of sort of meshes quite well with Wolverine, what his role in Wolverine and the X-Men, why he's sort of still being a sort of a mercenary and a headmaster at the same time. I'm not sure that many people do that. It introduces some new-ish villains, and it's basically quite a good setup, you know, for a good story, which I'm sure it's going to be. You know, Remender does these really cool, almost epic stories within quite a short space of time, you know. Well, the last arc wasn't that short, but anyway, you get what I'm saying. The only downside is this whole thing with Psylocke sort of losing her sort of some of her emotions. I feel it's been done before, you know, with her initial transformation into you know, her switching bodies. And if you remember this, when she was nearly killed by Sabretooth, she was exposed to this thing called the Crimson Dawn, and she became sort of quite cold and soulless. It just feels like rerunning of it, but I'm sure Remender will put his personal stamp on it, and it'll be good. Also, there's some two like short stories at the end, which are both pretty weak. I mean, it's a sort of stereotypical Wolverine story, which I feel like I've read 100 times, and the Deadpool one wasn't that great. But apart from that, it's a pretty decent issue. Right, Green Lantern issue 9. I really enjoyed this. I mean, Mank's artwork is just worth the price of admission alone. I just love his artwork. It's so good, and also I think Jeff Johns is doing a good job as well. This issue deals with the Indigo tribe. We get to find out its origins and its connection to Abin Sur. It's also starting to build up on, which I feel is going to be a grander storyline with basically the Guardians of the Galaxy just being pricks, basically. So, and I know people feel that Hal Jordan kind of gets lost a little bit in this, but it's just you know, Jeff Johns, he deals with such sort of grand storylines, and he's set up so much over the years. But I think that's what made the Green Lantern such a great title, really. I mean, that's what got me sucked in. I was never a huge fan of Hal Jordan. I am now, but it was because Jeff Johns sort of made these grand epic stories and introduced all these new characters and concepts, and I think he's carrying on doing that, so I recommend it. Age of Apocalypse issue 3. I'm really enjoying this. It's an interesting concept. If you're ever an old fan of the Age of Apocalypse stuff, You might not like this, oddly enough. It's completely different. It's much bleaker, and the writer David Lampram was doing. He's sort of flipped the X-Men concept on its head. So it's a small group of humans versus a world of mutants, and who are all pretty evil. And it has Jean Grey and Sabretooth. They've lost their powers. They've joined the humans. And Roberto Di La Torre, I'm not quite sure how it's pronounced, the artist. Very gritty sort of artwork, very grim, but it suits the tone of the story so well. The writing and the art just really mesh together, you know, it really works. And the storyline at the moment is basically the bad guys are bringing back dead mutants to fight the humans, and it's really cool, and they're developing the new characters quite well. It's interesting because all the hero humans are basically bigots and bad guys in the 616 universe. For instance, Grandin Creed is one of the good guys, and Donald Pierce as well. The only problem I have with that is that in the Age of Apocalypse universe, he was a bad guy. And he worked for Apocalypse. It hasn't been explained yet, but I'm sure it will do. So yeah, it's I think this is worth picking up. Although, be prepared for it being different to what you expect. And last and maybe least, EARTH2 issue 1. I picked this up on a whim. It was alright. James Robertson writes it quite well, and Nicola Scott. The artwork's great in this. It's a lot of fun. I feel the problem with this is it concentrates too much on Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And spoiler alert, they get killed off, and you basically find out they're not the protagonists of the series. It's kind of, that's all a flashback, and it deals with it's going to deal with their children, and also it has Alan Scott and Jay Garrett, and who are members of the Justice Society, and it's all kind of complicated because they're older versions of Silver Age characters, the original Green Lantern and the Flash, and I think they're kind of trying to switch it up a little bit. It just didn't grab me, you know. I think maybe if they'd spent more time on introducing who the protagonists of this series are going to be, rather than Batman, Superman and Wonder Woman. But hey, there you go. And yeah, I think I'll leave it at that for the moment. Okay, see you later now. Ta-da, bye.